eyes on 12th place. That last team that's going to make it directly to those finals, not going to have to suffer the survival stage. Which teams are going to make it? Let's get into our final Erangel of the group stages. Novo over towards South George as we head on in for our final pass over the grassy pastures with dual gaming chipsets and 144Hz AMOLED screen. The GT20 Pro will equip teams with up to 120 FPS, which is also the first batch of supported devices, offering esports level performance and visually stunning experiences in the 2024 Pmwc. Let's kick it off.
Let's kick it off. Let's get it going, folks, because right now it is do or die for so many of these squads. You got to remember, it is top 12 that are moving on to the finals. Bottom 12 are going to go to that survival stage, and that is a place you do not want to be. You got hungry squads that have been waiting for that moment. They're studying you time and time again, so you want to make sure you can do everything you possibly can. You got to put it all on the line right now, and there's a lot of squads that really need to do that starting right here, right now.
Absolutely. They have got a lot of work to do. Out early over Milta Power. Vampire not going to be heading over to Pmwc this time. Playing over on the east side, close to Boom in Milta. Team Liquid down to C block, down towards that military base on the south side. And we're not going to have any spicy military circles this time around, Hot Jukes. We're keeping it chilled out now as things get a little bit more intense for our players. It's a circle that centers on Pachinki, which doesn't really give too much away. You could still go north of the river, you could still go to the military island, as unlikely as it is, but we're going to be allowing a lot of time for these teams to get things done.
Yeah, I mean, they definitely need every single second they can get, but oh, it looks like we got a runner here. Power Esports on the run. Talon possibly looking to hunt him down here. Let's see if he's going to be able to get those shots. He has an AK. If you're going to use any weapon, that's the one to do it with.
Damn.
And they are definitely committing to this.
Pop the spray, witness me, chrome on the teeth right now for Talon. They're trying to claw some points back to their tally. On the chase, they're already sitting at the top end of the teams playing today. You can see they're on 60 points right now. They want to keep that one going. We were looking the other day at where we think that bubble's going to be. It's likely around the low 70s is where we're going to see that 12th place sit. So if you can push up over 80 points today, that would be phenomenal. 3 games to get 20 points for Talon, it's doable.
Yeah, totally doable for sure. And right now that cutoff is going to be where Brute Force is, 53 points. They're going to get passed up for sure. So hopefully we can see them do something in the survival stage. But there's a lot of big names here that still need to cross that gap. I'm looking at you, Vampire Esports. I mean, even, you know, Inco Gaming. They had a great game, that last one. That definitely helped them out here. Oh, look at that. A little pistol action there.
I don't think he's shooting at anyone. He's shooting at Severny for TJB. And currently, nobody is in Severny.
Getting their fingers warm.
He's just getting rid of the ammo. It's like, it's quicker than opening your inventory. Just shoot the bullets, you know?
Just shoot him up. And you can just see he's just mad. He's there just punching those fists in the air, trying to find that M4. Let's see if he could do it. So now he's starting to get looted up, which is great for him. But at the same time, man, they got some work ahead of them. They have 52 points right now. So TJB, we should see them in that top 12 as long as they have a good, consistent few games. But you know, when this is that moment, right? You got to clutch it up. You got to be able to get it done here and now, and you can't let those nerves get to you.
No, you definitely can't. You've got to be able to hold your nerve when it matters. And coming into this one, it is just going to be a question of keeping up the pace for the teams at the top of the block right now that they're currently playing in, right? We've got Alpha 7 leading from the top, 72 points already, which is pretty good news for them. This is a team, obviously, that people have expected to do well. Likely going to be able to get up towards the top of those tables towards the end of today. I wouldn't expect anything different from them. So hopefully they're able to keep up that pace as well. Currently in North George, and actually a pretty difficult rotation if Alula XIHC try and get ahead of them on that river crossing. The question is, how do they navigate that? They've got a lot of options open to them from that northwest side. We're seeing quite a lot of teams down to the southeast, I think, right now, of this map in general. We're on board with IWNRX right now, and they are one of the furthest west of this set of teams out further east.
Yeah, I mean, this is a very cookie-cutter type zone right here, so yeah, there's nothing too special about it. These teams know this circle like the back of their hand. So Alpha 7, they're just getting looted up, ready to go for this one. You do have quite a few squads that have already centered up, but teams are definitely, I think, prioritizing loot right now, and they're not in a big hurry because I think this is that calm after that military storm we saw last game. So At the end of the day, though, you got to make it into top 12. That is the minimum result. And I actually got to have breakfast with Knight from Team Liquid.
Oh, lucky you.
That's right. That's right. So I got to have a good long chat with him. And I mean, for those of you that don't know, this guy here is one of the most winning coaches in PUBG Mobile. For the past, I believe it's like 5 A-tier events that he's been a part of.
Yeah.
First place, every single one in different regions, you know? So to be a part of a huge org of Team Liquid is incredible. And I got to get a glimpse of just how well these guys train beforehand. You know, before a big event like this, they all meet up. They all stay in a place for about a month, scrim every single day against the top teams, and even fly out to different regions as well to prepare for a tournament like this. And, you know, Team Liquid, they did talk about just going back to the basics today, you know, just trying not to make mistakes, because that's one thing he stressed on. I was asking, you know, like, hey, you know, as a coach, you've coached so many different teams, had success. What do you feel is like the biggest problem a lot of these players have? And he just said it's just tiny mistakes that happen one by one after the other, right? If one player makes a small mistake, you can't point fingers at them. You got to be able to have that reset and continue the game on right now. As you look at CAG Osaka taking some shots on the Boom Esports.
They are just trying to slow down those rotations as teams start to make their way more central. If you didn't catch it, by the way, there was a long-form interview on the HQ show with Knight as well. So make sure you check that out. He was covering a bunch of those points, talking over the match they won. They're talking over their Sandhawk chicken dinner.
Yes.
The entirety of that match. So definitely good to get a chat with him over there. And obviously you had a chat with him over, what, a pancake and a coffee?
Oh, yeah.
Something like that for breakfast? I'm not too sure. I haven't.
Good old plate of shakshuka.
What was it? What did he eat for breakfast? Did you check?
I believe it was just eggs and beef sausage.
Okay, that's a breakfast of champions.
That's
right
what
there.
it is. That's what it is.
That's quite an English breakfast.
And he was there right early in the morning because he was ready to put in some work today. And
Hell yeah.
The pressure is definitely on his team for sure. But one thing that he definitely told me that he's really proud of his squad is he definitely feels like his team has that clutch factor. That when the going gets tough, they can still perform. And they proved it in PMSL Americas where, you know, Alpha 7, maybe those hands started to shake once again, and then they were able to, you know, finish second place. Team Liquid just surpassing them there. So we'll see what happens. Right now, there is a good solid gap between Alpha 7 and Team Liquid points-wise. But you know what? Anything can happen here.
That's true. Anything can and most often does happen.
That's
here
for sure.
In PUBG Mobile. Team Falcons moving on the south coast right now, trying to scout their way in. A couple of inroads potentially going to become available to them right now. Again, still not too much conflict. You can see Top run around, grabbing a little bit more loot, not quite satisfied. Still is going to have that level 3 helmet, that level 3 vest as well. So they're pretty decked right now. I mean, I'm not too sure what more he could really be looking for there. Maybe, you know, a med kit.
Yep.
Seems like he's got plenty of nades, plenty of smokes.
Well, these guys are set up. They're ready to go for sure. So looking at the leaderboards, you guys can see that right now as we're about to get into another zone here. This is pretty much do or die. This game right here for 4 teams in particular.
Okay.
I'm talking about Harami Bro,
Sure.
CAG Osaka,
Excellent.
DRX,
True.
and IWNRX. Those guys need a chicken dinner right here, right now, or they're not making it to top 12.
This is the thing, right? I mean, IWNRX is particularly an interesting one, right? Coming from the EMEA region, obviously it was Brute Force who are the champions from that region, but throughout the majority of the tournament, IWNRX were the best. And that was predominantly off the performances coming through from Zedwolf. He was an incredible fragger back in the region. We thought it was going to be a breakout performance here coming into this tournament, but it just hasn't been. They have been nowhere to be seen. They've been so quiet so far over the 9 matches that they've played. It's just not enough. And it's really unfortunate because I think Zedwolf definitely has the talent, right? And it's just somewhere along the line, it hasn't connected to what's going on in this tournament. And it's slightly disappointing.
Yeah, well, they're not out of the race just yet. I mean, there's still this match and 2 more left to go. You could definitely soak up a lot of points, but the problem...
They probably need like 50 to 60 points, though.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying is, like, in order for it to happen, we need a double-digit elimination chicken dinner right here. If it doesn't happen, it's nail in the coffin. I'm going to say for all 4 of those squads here. So
I'd agree with that.
Yeah, it is. It's possible, but not probable with the way they've been playing so far. And at the end of the day, there are so many good squads here. And we saw Gary go crazy in the last match there with a nice little 2v1 to win the game.
hitting them with the snail trail.
Gary.
Able to slow them down enough. TJB on the northeast side, close by to Inco. Looks like they are just going to divert, fold back a little bit, get away from the scrap.
Yeah, this is the problem right here. When you get down to the last 3 matches, there are so many teams that desperately need points. And when that happens, everybody just starts turtling up, playing ultra passive. And when it comes to that aggression, they can flip that switch on at any moment's notice. So it's going to be more difficult to just get points here, especially like double-digit eliminations. You'd have to play absolutely insane because these are those championship rounds. So we'll see, you know, if we're going to see one of these teams on the bottom of the leaderboards be able to put a big performance up. But right now, it's not looking too good. Even if you're, honestly, even if you're Mad Bulls, Power Esports, I'd try to get it done right here and now, because those last 2 matches, you never know what's going to happen.
What was it Barney said, between like 10th and 20th? It's like 10 points or something like that? Or it looks like, yeah, like 11 points between Team Liquid and Mad Bulls right now, which is a huge, huge jump up in placements for what is ostensibly one good game compared to everyone else, right? You just need that profit, that breakout performance. So we'll have to see if that is in the back pocket, if they've got the rockets to strap to their shoes, blast themselves up the table. See how fast they can go. Right now, major feature of the circle. Let's talk a little bit about that.
Okay.
Potato Hill on the east, Pachinki sandwiching it off on the west. The circle just about to pop, heads up towards Potato Hill. So the north part of that Potato Hill position going to be really, really hard fought over. CAG Osaka right now hold it. Are they going to be able to withstand the pressure?
They're going to need to, that's for sure, because they're one of those teams that, like I said, need a double-digit elimination chicken dinner right here, right now, or we're going to have to see them in the survival stage and risk watching their key get crushed right in front of their own eyeballs.
Owie.
That's gonna stink, that's for sure. So meanwhile, you got teams like Team Liquid, Falcons. Those guys need to put up some points on the board. They're all the way on the south side right here. They're gonna have to push through quite a few squads, and with that desperation time coming right here, right now, oh man, it's gonna be very, very difficult. So let's see how it happens. You can see Team Falcons trying to make a safe rotation, already starting to get popped at by Vampire. And that's the problem. With a zone like this, pretty much every single spot, central circle, is already taken.
Absolutely, and given the fact that there's no casualties right now of this match, it's going to only exacerbate that problem, right?
That's right.
It's just making it worse with 16 teams all trying to cram themselves in. Now is where things are going to start to heat up, where that kettle pressure is starting to whistle.
And it's whistling hard. And the problem is that nobody wants to open up that can just yet, because if they're the first to engage into a fight, the chances of getting third-partied right now are like 99%. So, you know, everybody is just waiting, hoping that somebody gets a little antsy and starts, you know, maybe a crazy push happens, and then that third party will come in right after. So we'll see what happens here.
That's not how you... hang on a minute.
Very interesting.
That needs an insurance claim right there.
Oh, yeah.
Who's at fault? Definitely the buggy.
It's classic Mythic.
Oh, dear. Come on.
Oh, here we go.
They're on the road.
Team Liquid.
This is a bold send. I mean, they must know someone's up here.
But CAG Osaka's too split right now. They are so severely split that they can't support each other. And he's going to get taken out right here, 3v1. I think a big misplay from CAG Osaka. You cannot try to take that much real estate in a zone like this.
No, absolutely not. And that's what I was saying. It's going to be hard fought over. Can they withstand the pressure? The answer, no, right now. A point of their hold has been taken down, but they still have 3 players alive. And once they regroup those 3, Team Liquid can kind of act as that 4th player on their south edge, but it's just going to be so much more dangerous for them.
Oh, man.
Alola x IHC now clashing with IWNRX, who have been trying to push in for a little bit. Swain goes down, and we are finally starting to see these casualties coming through. A lot of them going to be happening over towards the west side near Pachinki.
Going to see absolute chaos ring out here in the next few seconds. You can see Alola IHA on the move. NRX going to have to sacrifice a player. Oh, and they're already down to 2 players. That's going to be quite difficult. Is he going to be able to get that knock? He doesn't. Goes for the confirm, so at least get 1 point. And they need every single one that they could get, because they are really struggling right now. NRX going to try to get this shot and gets taken out.
It's not going to be there for Kine, unfortunately. Demo now trying to go on the swivel against Frozen with the AUG. Low HP for Demo, low ammo as well, and IWNRX win out that trade and take down Alola x IHC, but Alpha 7 have managed to leapfrog them. In the meantime, Talon have pushed in on the north side of that position, and it's going to be so hard to extricate themselves from it with the remnants of this IWNRX roster.
Let's see what happens. IWNRX need these points much more than IHC did, and they are down to the final couple players as Boom Esports getting taken apart. Everybody's on fire, and this is exactly what I was talking about. The second that fight rings out, you know there's going to be some more players coming. Boom Esports going to try to go for a reset here. 2 players down for Moneymakers. They're going to start throwing out some smokes, and I think, yeah, both these teams should be able to get a full reset.
A lot of challenge on this south side, as well as a scrap going on. Harame Bro and Falcons clashing with one another. Falcons, they've taken a knock, but they can get the res. However, the zone is going to push them. It's going to push them hard. They're on the long side and need to flow on in past the positions from Boom and Moneymakers. Given that this fight is going on, that is the reason that Falcons can make this maneuver now. They're going to be able to have a route in towards the top of Potato Hill on the west side. The question is, how long are DRX and Madball's going to let them go for it?
Let's see. Let's see. And if you're Boom, you need to get this fight done as soon as possible because you don't want Falcons to be knocking at your door here. The nades are starting to ring out. They're throwing every single piece of utility here. Yummy's the first one to go down. So Moneymakers could turn this around right here with another knock.
Trying to put the nades out through the window. The flush onto Yummy is there. Close range engagement, potential danger here as they push out, but it's dealt with handily. Koa leads the charge around the edge, and not a Moneymaker goes down. Easily taking control of those 2 players on the outside, but look, Falcons have made that move. They have surrounded this engagement, and the Moneymakers have bigger fish to fry.
The Falcons are swooping on in, and here they are. Just a little bit late to the party, actually. They weren't able to catch that third party right on time, so now it is going to be a fair 4v4, and Moneymakers actually have that edge with that knock onto action. Uh-oh. Koa down to, he's really low. Yeah, runs immediately away, gets into the shack, and he should be able to get fully healed up. But now Vampire is coming in here as well.
Thought that nade went in through the window. That one might do a lot more damage sent in. No, that one just bumps short. You're right, Vampire are here. SHREE is going to be an outpost for them. They're not fully in. There's a nade. There's an opener towards Havlik as SHREE continuing to keep that pressure on the back there. I'm not too sure about this Falcons push down the hill, but if they're sweeping out their sidelines trying to keep control, then they're going to have a better chance of pushing up towards CAG Osaka after this fight. But they need to conclude it first. 2 knocks now over towards the Moneymakers as the res comes in for Havlik, keeping 3 alive in the building, and the Falcons disengage.
They said, forget this. We cannot handle this right now.
Well,
actually, never mind. You know, we're turning around. We're getting into the fight. We're going to go ahead and just take them head on. And Schweppes is right there around the corner as well. So let's see if Vampire swoops in, but Moneymakers desperately trying to take these players out to keep their tournament hopes alive. Top with the S12K. Brings out a few shots, but not able to get the knock, but that is it. Moneymakers are out of there.
And Vampire are still here to play. Can SHREE do more now? 4 players alive for them. The rest of the team nowhere to be seen. Falcons have got 3 players. They can get these reses, but SHREE does not have any nades. That is what is stopping him from really going for more pressure on this. The circle's moved away. They don't need to go aggressive, but maybe they should have done. Maybe they
needed to. They needed to. I'm so shocked that they didn't press this fight because Team Falcons are only separating them by 3 points prior to this match. So to take out the Team Falcons right now would be very advantageous for Vampire, but instead they say, you know what? Let's prioritize Circle and see what happens. And it's a bold call. It's a bold call. Let's see if it ends up working out for them.
SHREE a little bit out of tune right now with the rest of Vampire. Stoned tries to put a leash on him, pull him back in. Or maybe he should have been the one being pulled over towards that. It's going to be interesting to see how the 3 players from Falcons now can impact Vampire's position. The difficulty right now for the position for Falcons, they can't really put too much pressure over towards Vampire because of the way that the terrain sits on the south side of that Potato Hill. Spray from Mythic, 1, 2, 3, and the rest go up in flames. That is a huge pickup for Team Liquid on the west side, and the Mad Bulls, they are sent down.
See ya, Mythic shutting them down right there. 5 eliminations to his name. You can see that helmet right there. He found them real quick. That's how you get it done. So Team Liquid busting out some big eliminations right when they need them. And now they're starting to put some pressure onto the Brazilian brothers of Alpha 7.
They're trying to close that gap. Another knock, another flush. That goes to Talon, but that still depletes the resources of Alpha 7. And the rest are up on the menu. Ayala
He's dancing.
wants the shots. He's adding the pepper. He's making it spicy. McGrellin goes down. And Team Liquid, 6 eliminations now.
Looking so good right now. Very, very strong. Holding the edge of Potato Hill, and CAG Osaka are just playing this completely passive, so they're not applying any pressure from up the mountain. It's really up to Team Liquid to get it done here. Talon are trying to find a flank on in, and it looks like they are going to take that fight. Misery with a beautiful shot onto Ayala sparks this engagement.
Ayala, where are you? Need to be a little bit more consistent with those sprays, but let's take a look at this third-party potential coming in from Alpha 7 if they go for this full-out scrap. Talon really can't, I think, fully engage onto this. They just need to keep the suppression on, because Alpha 7 will move up whilst Team Liquid are busy holding their knocks back. Let's take a look at this replay. I mean, all four in a car. Oh, okay, look, you move all in a vehicle, and every time this happens, I always say it's just going to go badly for you. That's exactly why. Let's take a look at Carrillo. He's going to fall down, but Talon, they're having their toll extracted on them. Ayala's going to get rezzed, and Team Liquid still with 4.
Team Liquid, this is the game that they needed right here. And I talked to Knight. He said that we're just going for top 12. We want to make sure we make it to that finals, but this is how you do it right here, right now. Meanwhile, Talon down to 3 players. They do not have any kind of hill priority at all, so they may just have to stick it. But now, look at this. The fight is now ringing out between Vampire and Team Falcons, but now Vampire loses the advantage that they had a little bit earlier.
Oh, man, Vampire, that sucks so much. If there was a way that you could have gotten rid of Falcons, right? Right? Maybe you should have gone for that down to the southwest side, but not to be. Tony K dispatched on a knock, but should get rezzed up here with smoke cover. Stoned is the off angle. Potential third-party, weird sort of action from Power as they start to shift down on the east side. You can see actually Kante and Easy both moving in on the east. So potential backstab if Vampire want to push this. Don't think they can really go too aggressive now. With that knock onto Tony K, Falcons have moved further up, and CAG Osaka not making a peep.
Not moving at all, but they're going to have to because this zone's going even further north, and all those teams are going to have to collapse onto CAG Osaka in the next few minutes. If you're Apollo, you need to start pushing up right here. You need to apply pressure on these squads while you have the blue zone working with you right now. But for the moment, Vampire and Falcons in a fair fight for now. Top, busting out the S12K through the smoke, gets knocked.
That's long range. That's the backstop. Stone able to put suppression over the ridgeline. Smoke clears. They get the flush. 2 players now left for Falcons to try and hold on. Nerzed with 2 eliminations, low HP, needs to try and get some healing action taken low, and they haven't got a knock to answer. There's the knock from Tony K. They push forwards, and Nerzed now, the only thing to stop Falcons from going out. Team Liquid have an off angle, and they will get cut down, falling before the feet of the Vampires.
Vampire Esports, I cannot believe they were able to have this fight fair. I mean, there were so many teams right next to them, but they just allowed that to happen. CAG Osaka, a team that desperately needs so many elimination points, currently sitting with 0.
Those coffins getting nailed left and right now. Harame Bro, IWNRX, DRX, all out. Low point scoring games. You said you're counting them out. I think I'm agreeing with you. CAG Osaka on that lifeline. 3 players on the top of Potato Hill, holding off, fending off against some of the strongest teams in this tournament.
They got to realize placement points aren't going to do it right now. They need both eliminations and placements if they want to make it into the finals. So, I mean, they had so many opportunities to third-party players, but instead just holding down their location for now. TJB on the move, only S. Gonna make some nice shots there. Puts a little bit of pressure onto Gary. Gonna try to blow up that vehicle as well. Oh, but the off angles are starting to ring out. Yeah. Only S is in big trouble.
Inko moving out wide with Vitali to try and get the off angle, and that's exactly what you need. You just can't move on in now. There's full surround going on here. And it's going to be done and dusted for TJB on Erangel for the group stages. They've got 2 Miramars to play now. They'll have to focus on that. In the meantime, Team Liquid finally turning their attention to the remaining players on CAG Osaka. They're down to 1, and their tournament might just be dropping down to the survival stages in these next moments. But a nade keeps them alive for just a second more.
Oh, but it's only just 1 player up. I mean, we have to see an absolute miracle run from Naoto. Let's see if he's going to be able to do it. But now the Molotov coming on in. He's burning. Is he going to burn down to nothing? Oh, barely survives.
Wow. A big nade sent back over. And look, the Vampire with the third party. Team Liquid on the ropes now. 2 of their players are down. They only just got 1 res. And another re-knock comes through. Inko are there. And it's a third party, a 4th party as well. And Team Liquid fall. Naoto holds on the inside. CAG Osaka will finally fall, but Vampire hold the top.
Vampire desperately need these points. Power Esports do as well. So let's see how they're going to be able to end up on this match here. Tony K, look at that, 6 eliminations from Vampire and a dominant position.
That is a great result for them. Team Liquid getting pulled apart. That beautiful opening knock, and a lot of that was on Naoto from SHREE Osaka, right? Getting that nade in, stopping Team Liquid dead in their tracks. They couldn't push up more to that building and finish the fight that they wanted to take. If they had that building, Vampire can't move in, Inco can't get third parties, but as it stands, Vampire now on the high ground. With Talon starting to falter, Power might want to sweep on through.
Yeah, SHREE Osaka had a big opportunity here, a dream circle, but just weren't able to take advantage of it. Just got completely outclassed by these other teams. So let's see who is going to make it into that top 12. And every single one of these teams that are in the match right now desperately need it. Talent Esports being the only one right now in 9th place. So they are sitting comfortable. But man, it's going to come down to that last match to see who makes that cutoff.
Absolutely. It is going to be brutal. Right now, Power on the lower end of the tables for these teams playing, starting the match with 44 points. If they can keep things going, if they can keep it up, it will be good. But they currently don't have any eliminations, Hot Tunes. That means that they're going to need to push real hard for this chicken dinner, more so than a lot of these other teams that are still in this fight. Nade over towards Newsy, not going to connect.
Oof, they need pretty much every single elimination here. And it's going to be very difficult because they're going to have to do this fight with Vampire. Oh, but they're so spread out. They're completely 4-man splits. They're not in a position to take a team fight at all. They're just going to snake their way in and try and hope for the best here.
Inco might be looking for this back-to-back, but if Nunes goes down like that, that nade might find Axel, but it's not even going to tag the damage. A knock on the front point for Inco is going to be worrying. But everybody's got so many angles to worry about. Vampire making their trudge forwards. It's not going to be easy. We'll see if they're able to make marks onto this circle.
And they're gonna, I tell you that right now. Vampire, this is what they do best, but they're back against the wall and just being able to shoot at anything that moves. So they're starting to apply that pressure. Schweppes loses helmet right there, so that's gonna be pretty interesting to see how they end up playing it out. They have the high ground. Everything should work out for them, but you can see Inco Gaming has their eyes locked on them for now.
Spray from Schwepp and another knock over towards Verdan from Power on the northeast side.
Nice
and Vampire keeping control on this high ground. Vehicle still available for Inco, putting 2 players in it. That's dangerous, but they got to roll straight over towards Power. They want to sweep through. This is a 2-player push. There's a nade in hand. What are you doing? You're just going to get lit up. There's no answer as well. And Verdan is just going to be able to get res. They moved out, and Inco lose a really weird sort of fight. They try to push forwards in the buggy. 2 players completely exposed the high ground. I'm putting a big question mark on that.
They could have just moved so slowly, but instead they just try to full send it with a vehicle and got punished. That is Talon out now, and Vampire are just watching this happen from up top. Beautiful shot, though, from Nenebete. That was huge.
Only 1 player remaining for Inco, and it is Nenebete, able to land that shot. It's going to be good news. 3 players alive for Vampire, but only 2 active. Power have been biding their time with Inco trying to make that play and it not really working out. They've been given a lot more of an opportunity here, but Tony K moves forwards into a linchpin position. Vampire have got the res now, and they're playing on the high ground.
Alhaj has the MG3 to full level 3'd out. This man is ready to go. He doesn't have quite a few 7.6 bullets left, but he has a full mag, and that is going to help him out big time. Meanwhile, Nenebete being a thorn in the side of both of these teams.
Oh, I thought that might have just bobbled over, but no, it goes a bit down the hill.
This is stage 8, by the way. This zone's going to go about to nothing.
I think you're right. I think it's going to go pretty close. Tony in the middle for Vampire. And how much more iconic a Vampire style can you get, right? Yesterday, not great. They are starting to ramp up the pace, right? They're gathering their shadows around them.
They are ascending from the shadows here right at the last moment, right when it counts. And here comes Papa Blue, folks. This is it. The zone is now going to go all the way to the middle, and that is Inco out. We're down to the final 2 teams. Power have the low ground, but they have an extra player. And 2 knocks. That is how you get it done. Vampire are in trouble.
1 versus 4 for Tony K. He is pretty good, but I don't know if he's that good. Needs to start out strong with 1, but that's all he'll get. Tony K goes down, and Power clutch it out with a chicken dinner. Held on the northeast side, stopped anyone from moving around. and able to clinch it in their home ground.
Oh, the crowd goes wild. You couldn't ask for a more clutch moment because this team desperately needed every single point that they could get to make it into the finals and into that top 12. And they just did it right here, right now. 2 more matches left to go. And in the last matches, we don't know what's going to happen. So, I mean, you said that word clutch, and I cannot agree anymore. That's how you do it.
Second chicken dinner today for Power. Their day one. We're not even going to think about that anymore. We're looking at today's games, and they are burning bright right now. This is a team that has surprised us before. It looks like they're trying to do it again.
Absolutely, man. What a performance right there. Beating Vampire on the low ground, not an easy task at all. They hit those shots and got it done right here. So, I mean, a performance like that, we should hopefully see them in the finals. There's still 2 more matches left to go, and like I said earlier, it's going to come down to the last one.
I think it might just do that with the proximity on these tables, with the 12-match set that each of these teams are going to be only playing 12 matches. It increases that volatility so much, and everything can change on one play.
Well, speaking of volatility, right? Now I'm gonna claim it, right? Nail in the coffin for the bottom 4 squads right now. We're gonna see them in the survival stage. I know it, and I think they know it as well. Here comes the problem, though. You know you're making it to the survival stage. You know you're not going to make it to the finals. Maybe you decide to say, hey, this team annoyed us. They're the reason why we're here. Let's go hunt them down.
On the flip side, maybe you want to allow the teams that you think are better to qualify, right? So that in the survival stage, you're not facing off against stronger opponents.
That's
right?
a good point.
So therefore, you go against weaker teams that are around that bubble. And you try and elect which teams you want to go for, right? So there is that sort of dichotomy depending on how you want to play it, right? And even then, you don't even have to make that call. You could just play for your points, just play for as much as you can. There are still ladder up bonuses, right, for getting higher placements on the group stages. A couple of grand can be the difference between that bottom spot and a couple of points higher. So still a lot to play for. We're going to be heading to Miramar after the break.
What they want to live for. Why'd you prison me instead? Covet what's good from us. Escape what comes along. You have to color blind to visualize who we are. Light, careless, no less. Regardless of your mind, destined to shine. Can I do what you wanna do? It's like to choke. Love me, can't change my willingness in me. And wonder what they wish for, what they want to live for.
Power Esports take home another chicken dinner. Jason Kaplan joined by 7 Worlds Gaming and Kolaris there on the end. And honestly, it's looking like Power, with their 2 wins today, might be able to pull this off. They might be able to qualify.
They may. They have the power. I had to go for it. I'm sorry. We have got ourselves 2 wins in 3 games. And overall, I mean, this one was very well done considering that these teams having to deal with Potato Hill, dealing with the high ground elevation. But for Vampire, as soon as that high ground elevation gets eliminated from the proceedings, they are done and donezo.
That was the big question mark for Vampire. How were they going to be able to react whenever the circle didn't go their way? Because they were going to be overexposing themselves. You end up backfiring. But, I mean, still, for Vampire, this is great points for this team. And Power, they have done so well today in Erangel. Not only the 2 chicken dinners, the first Erangel and now this second Erangel, but even earlier in between, on that second match, they ended up in 11th place, but with at least 6 elements. So it's good to see them being able to get, whenever they don't get placement points, they get those elimination points.
Oh, I see another unfortunate finish for them here, only getting themselves 2 points. Mad Bull is getting absolutely destroyed by Mythic, losing all 4 players, and that kind of shows you why you don't rotate all players in one vehicle. But I really kind of want to see overalls. I don't know if we can jump to it right now because we didn't get to check in with it last game, and I'm curious how have things potentially have shifted up here considering what has gone down. And we are going to see, has the talent have been able to make it up here into this page?
Look who's not there anymore. D plus Kia. Now it's going to be in the second page as well as Reject. I mean, I still feel like Reject should be safe. I really want to look at that second page, though. I want to see how some of those other teams are currently setting, because I feel like it's going to be a lot closer now. Now we're not just going to be talking about some of the teams that we're going to Besiktas completely out now. We're waiting for it. Look how D plus currently where they're at. I think D plus, with the way that some of the teams are performing that are outside of the 12 spot, I don't think they're gonna make it.
Yeah, for Rejects, I mean, it's gonna require quite a few of these teams to have a pretty decent 2 games to knock Reject out from my money. So yeah, it's still D plus that is really facing down the barrel here against these teams that are honestly gonna get themselves at least the points.
So Power at the moment would be in if we stopped right now. However, they need to go into these Miramars and just pick up some amount of points. They need to be a little bit consistent. They need to win the games, but hold on to the amount of points that you're able to get in steadily. One team we did see there that's not in the running at the moment, TJB. We were talking about them a little bit when we were watching the game. They have not done much of anything here in day 2.
Yeah, they just been so quiet. And we were kind of talking about this while we were watching the match, and you said how they just haven't really gotten the chance to control a compound like how they did yesterday. It's just been outside and fighting, not really being able to set themselves.
I would say there was definitely 3 of their games where they kind of got towards the late game where it came off the back of having a decent compound for that circle. When it comes to these field fights and having to transition through those field fights to eventually try to get to a late game, it's not been as successful for TJB. So if they do get something on Miramar, great, good for them, as we dramatically zoom into Jason. But I think overall, Miramar's harder to find compounds on to make that happen compared to an Erangel, right? So it might be difficult for them.
Well, we don't have too much time before heading to the next game, but I do want to give us a chance to talk about how Erangel has played out today here for a couple of teams. Actually take a look here at Power in their first day of play up against their second day of play and kind of compare and show you guys at home how big of a step up it was for them and what a perfect time to make it happen as well here. Averaging over double the damage, the eliminations. This is perfect if Power want to qualify.
Where was this team? Is this the actual Power?
Yeah, I mean, average survival time is huge here for them, and considering what they've been able to do today. I do think that the first win from our Erangels was a bit more of a given compared to this second one. They really had to work for this second one. So yeah, they are gaining traction when it comes to the Battlegrounds.
Another team that's gaining traction, Vampire, the defending champions for 2 years running. I almost want to see their stats as well because day 1 they didn't do terribly, but they didn't perform to the Vampire that we kind of expected coming into this event. What's up, 7? You gave me like a dirty look.
I felt like with Vampire on day one, we just felt like they were being a little bit too passive. Now we're starting to see Vampire take onto more fights, being able to be a little bit more aggressive too. I mean, we saw what they were able to do to just Falcons, and I can't remember what was the other. I think it was actually Falcons. Whenever Falcons was fighting between, let me check here, Moneymakers in a building.
Well, here you go.
Yeah, might be right or not, but overall, I mean, with Vampire, the aggressiveness it has finally come out. It's not just Tony K. We have actually seen some of the other players being able to step up their performance and start fragging out, and you can see it right there clearly today.
There's a scenario where they were fortunate that it was Kagosaka above them on Potato Hill when they were battling down towards the south of it, because Kagosaka is one of the more passive teams in the lobby right now, and they were especially being passive because they were only 3 compared to 4. If they'd have peeked over whilst that fight was going on, which they could have absolutely had the ability to do so, that could have been the kind of the bell tolling for a Vampire in that moment. But that was not to be. They had no intention of peeking over. Any other team that was a little bit more aggressive could have really put the boot in.
Yep.
Yeah, we also had Team Liquid there as well, which I think they ended up finishing off themselves. But you guys at home who are watching, make sure from now until July 3rd, you are following PUBG Mobile Esports over on TikTok, and also do a victory dance, post a video, whether it's in-game or out-of-game, and use the hashtag PMWC victory dance, and you have a chance to win up to $3,000 in virtual gift cards. But for us, as we just finished talking about Vampires, time to hear from the team themselves as we head down to the stage.
Welcome back to the main stage in the STC Arena, where I am joined by Vampire Esports coach. It's of course Sir Tanny. What would this competition be without us having a few chats on stage? Really enjoy. How are you doing? You okay?
Yeah, I'm so great. Thank you for asking.
Nice. Right, coming into this tournament, you're 2-time mid-season champions already. Lots of confidence coming here. But do you feel like yesterday you might have been a bit overconfident?
Yeah, because we know we are the former champion before, so we came here just like a home. We will do our best, but yeah, yesterday is really complicated and it's really hard for us, so yeah.
Okay, a bit of complications. All right, well, we spoke earlier today, and you mentioned that, you guys are going to switch things up a bit, maybe even switch a few drop locations as well. Why is that?
Yeah, because for us, today is so many drop cash, so honestly, the first important thing is our point, so we don't want to drop cash with no reason, so yeah, we find some the good drop that available for us, so yeah, we will share it. And also some routes, how we play, the timing, everything is shared today.
Okay, well, speaking of today, speaking of points, you managed to secure high points in that final Erangel map. Finally, you can rest a little bit. You're currently in 11th place with 62 points, okay? You're still not quite safe. You're only 1 point ahead of Power Esports right now. 2 more maps remain on Miramar. Do you feel like you can do it?
Yeah, I feel like we can do it, but just only the maintain and the consistency, because as you say, we are not really safe much, but I expect to focus for more like a 75 point, yeah.
75 points, that's what you're aiming for, Sir Tanny. It's always amazing to speak with you. Thank you so much for joining me on the main stage. Best of luck to Vampire Esports for the rest of today. Hopefully we'll see you in that main tournament. But for now, let's go back to the studio to continue day 3 of the group stage.
Oh, baby. 2 more matches left to go. And you can hear Sir Tanny himself say that he's aiming for 75 points. If that's the number that he's aiming for, I'm going to tell you right now, D+ Kia fans, you better be nervous.
Absolutely. D+ Kia, obviously not playing today. They were on 63 points, right? So it's going to be quite interesting to see who's going to start to fall on down those tables. Obviously, Brute Force getting surpassed now, down in 17th place. We're starting to see teams drop below that margin. I think also Besiktas have dropped out of the top 12 from their group, from Group Red. Those are the teams that we're going to start to see tumbling down the tables over the course of these next 2 matches. And it's going to be pretty brutal. But you know what you need when it's getting brutal?
What's that?
The best equipment. With dual gaming chipsets and 144Hz AMOLED screens, the GT20 Pro will equip teams with up to 120 FPS, which is also the first batch of supported devices, offering esports level performances and visually stunning experiences in the 2024 Pmwc.
Stunning. Stunning it is. And, man, we're going to see some teams stunt on the rest of these guys here. as we get into the last two matches of the day and of the group stage right here. $1 million gonna be split amongst these squads at the end of these two matches here. So let's just see who's gonna get that big money. Honestly, at this point, trying to catch Alliance, I think is gonna be just a little bit too hard for this lobby. They did so well their first 2 days, but you know what? You could definitely see some squads surpassing some of the others. You got like Alpha 7, who could possibly try to hunt down Xavier, maybe even 4MV. If they do really well in these next two matches, they do have El Pulso. They did get a plane drop, at least towards their area, so they're going to be looted up to the teeth, but they're going to have to get moving here very quickly, as it looks like we have a nice little southern zone here.
Down to the southeast side, just sort of centering over towards Los Leones. So we're going to have an urban finish. I feel like that would be so cruel for a lot of these teams, right? Generally, when you go to those urban environments, it just gets so chaotic, and predicting it, even in like stage 7, becomes pretty close to impossible, right? Unless there's like just some wild, completely dominant position, but very unlikely to happen. I'd be interested to see how that would unfold, but I don't really want to see it, because I feel like I really want these teams to have a fair shout in towards the last of their matches, right? This match, next match, the only 2 times they're going to have to put on the board to jump up towards those 12th places.
Oh, yes, they do. And I'll tell you what, Power Esports now have jumped right there to that 12th place position. So they've just reached that cutoff, but they got a lot of teams that are going to be hunting them down. You got Team Falcons, 1 point separation. Inco Gaming, 2 point separation. And then TJB just only a few more points down from that. So the job is not done yet, but Power with that last game, they have definitely put themselves in the running.
Yeah, absolutely. Alpha 7 right now, the only team that's jumped over where I sort of think that bubble's going to be. And even then, they are not out of the woods, right? The fact that we've only got 2 more matches to play and all of these teams are still chasing that position makes me think that the bubble might be just that little bit lower, right? Because you're not going to see all of these teams have a super strong performance. If you can see the bulk of them getting towards 6 points in this match, that's when it's going to start to jump up towards that low 70s mark. And it's going to be really interesting to see where it all falls, right? Because as all of these teams start to get the same amount of points as each other, that bubble drops just that little bit, and it is still so dangerous. But let's loop back to something that you said in the previous match, right? Siege Osaka, Harame Bro, IWNRX, DRX, very unlikely
it's
they
over.
Make it. It's over for their group stages. They will get through to the survival stage.
That's correct.
If they don't make it up into 12th place, which for all intents and purposes, they already haven't. We are going to have to see what they can pull out the bag in those next stages, right? We're going to be starting to cut teams down for Boom, for Mad Bulls, for Moneymakers as well. This is, again, that same situation that you were talking about last time, where this match could cut them out of the running.
Yeah, definitely could. And you know what? For those 4 bottom teams, you know, you never know what they're going to do right here now. And sometimes when they're at this stage, a lot of squads start going crazy because there's no more nerves, right? They know that, hey, there's no chance we have of making it. They finally start playing their game and start disrupting all the teams above them. So, you know, it's always good to keep an eye on those squads for sure. But I do agree, you know, Boom Esports, Mad Bulls, even Moneymakers, it's do or die this game for them if they want to make it into that top 12. So let's do a little theory crafting since we have some time here, and teams are playing so carefully at this point. Boom Esports, 46 points. Right now, Power Esports is at that cutoff line with 61. What do you feel Boom Esports needs to do right here and now, or what do you feel needs to happen if they want to have a chance of making it into the finals?
I mean, you just need at least double digits on the match, right? And I think that bubble in general, I'm still thinking it's going to be low 70s. So for Boom, they have a real big task ahead of them. I'm looking at them needing potentially 15 points a match to be secure into this one. That would give them 30 more points, put them on 76, right? That's around where Sotani said he wanted Vampire to end, and they're on 62 points already. So that sort of puts into perspective just how much of a chase Boom have, how much Mad Bulls have, and Moneymakers as well. They are really on their last chance, and they need 2 consecutive absolute bangers or 1 gigabanger.
That's right. Yeah, a gigabanger. And we haven't seen it happen so far from them. So it's going to be absolutely crazy to watch. And you can see Power Esports, they had a banger of a match in the last one, right when they needed it. So they're going to have a little bit more room to breathe, but job's definitely not done yet. They just need 2 consistent games. Put something on the board. Just can't go out early if you're Power. Meanwhile, you have Vampire, They're right there as well. None of these teams can afford to put up a 0-point game. But, you know, Alpha 7, they have 73 points. They should feel pretty comfortable here. You can see, for those of you guys that can possibly see that map, they're just rotating all the way through the edge down south, nice and safe. So they're going to definitely be in the mix here soon.
I don't think it's worth it for Alpha 7 to try and burst out towards those top spots when it's still so volatile for them to actually be confirmed towards that final stage.
They just got to play their game.
They've just got to play the game. If you can get sort of 3, 4, 5 points on both of these next 2 matches, that is going to see you safe in towards those finals. But then again, that's my opinion, right? I am not Alpha 7, and these guys have the passion for this game that is it's almost unparalleled.
Yeah, if I were Alpha 7 right now, I would put it in my mind that we're in 20th place. You know, because in my opinion, Alpha 7, their biggest struggle is themselves. You know, I talked to Kodajax, their manager, and he said exactly that. You know, we are our own worst enemies, and I would try to emulate that in my brain right now. Like, oh, you know what? This is do or die moment. We have to go crazy. Otherwise, we're not going to make it to the finals. So that way they can try to work through those nerves, because that's their only problem here. So I want to see some signs of life for Alpha 7 in these last 2 matches to give me a little bit more confidence for them come finals time.
That's what we're looking for. I mean, a lot of people will have predicted Alpha 7 to be winners of this tournament. I know you got 7 over on the desk as one of their biggest fans coming from the Americas region. And to be honest, I put Vampires as my prediction to win. That was primarily because they're back-to-back defending champions here in Riyadh. But I think if I'm being honest, I think Alpha 7 did have, coming into this tournament, the best chance of winning it. Given Alliance and Tiamba's performance, though, it's kind of putting question marks as to what's going on in this lobby, and I'm really interested to see how that's going to develop moving forwards. Very likely that we see Alpha 7 making their way in to take them on in those final stages. And we, again, on the flip side, we talked about teams that it's very unlikely they're going to make it. Teams are starting to get like really quite solidly confirmed to be getting through to those finals. Obviously, Alliance, Tiamba, but also 4MV and DXavia, right? Those 4 teams looking pretty healthy, but what a shift on the circle. Hard Southeast cuts Los Leones in on the northwest side and keeps Puerto Paraíso in.
Oh my goodness, this is a perfect zone shift for a team like Alpha 7, and we're starting to see some shots ring out just due to this crazy one. Moneymakers currently sitting at 18th place. They're one of the teams that desperately need points here. They got to be able to hold it against TJB. Both these teams need it bad, and both of them go down. And actually, that is Moneymakers out of there.
When I said this was potentially their last chance and they're going to get cut, now it is up to the Gigabanger final map, isn't it? And you do not want to be there. They still have the chance, though. We'll see if we'll be able to tune back in with them next time around. Talon close to the remnants of TJB, and so that could be the end of their match as well. Meanwhile, down in the rest of the thick of it, it is Power starting to flip those switches again. DRX falling prey to it.
I could already hear the crowd starting to go nuts as soon as they saw that knock from their hometown heroes. And this is DRX. DRX know that they're down and out. They have 0 chance of making it into the finals. So if you're going to push a team, that's one that you should really want to go ahead and press the issue on.
TJB still being suppressed out in the blue up the north side, northwest of Hacienda. A nice answer, though, from Longs with a long shot over to Linus. Able to hit that headshot as well. And that's going to be a difficult res to fully commit to, and looks like they are going to go for it. They're going to have to pick up, and I don't think they want to stay here now, but in comes the rollover. TJB pushing up to this. They might be able to pick up 2 points now. Yoru and Linux both do get up, but there is just a hail of bullets rolling down the hill, and now it's up to Axel to try and put the pieces back together. They've got Misery still in the fray, but you can see he's quite far away, getting closer and closer, though. Can he have an impact?
Flower's going to see those nades coming from a mile away, so he's going to have to land it perfectly.
Nice.
I guess you didn't see that one coming. Axel with a beautiful nade. Got to have to make another play here for his team. Talon currently sitting in 6th place. TJB are the ones that desperately need those points, and they are out of there.
Talon able to snaffle it away. 74 points now, and today's leaders on the tournament tables. That is great news for the team of Talon, and it is a great result. Another team pushing up and over, looking better to get towards those finals. The team from Indonesia.
heads-up play from Talon right there. They wanted to make sure they secured their slot to the finals, and honestly, with that squad wipe, I think it's going to do it. Power Esports, though, their ticket isn't punched just yet. They need to win this fight with DRX. They unfortunately lost a player in this fight. That is definitely going to hurt them here, as the blue zone is now starting to pass them up.
Ooh, Los Leones, difficult to navigate when you've got that close-range threat, and it's exactly the difficulty that's facing DRX and Power. But only 2 players remain now for DRX. 4 nades in hand, may be able to do something. Pops some mollies, forces players off that close window on the top floor, but not really going to have an impact. And again, puts it into the middle, plays it back. They're trying to create space here, allow his teammate to get through, so that they can play a 1-2 punch, maybe even breach the building. Power yet to disengage from this. They have 3 players alive.
They're going to have to disengage here eventually, or just start pushing it. I'm surprised they're being so passive here. And this just could be the fact that, you know, they're in that cusp. They're right there on the leaderboards in that 12th place position. I think we're starting to see the nerves start to ring out for this team.
It's pretty tricky to look to get out of this one if you aren't fully aware of the enemy team's locations, but the nades are starting to come through, and Power could really start to suffer here. It's only going to get worse and worse. Once the zone hits, it's going to tick harder and harder, and Power want to get out of there. They need to get out of there. Their campaign is not over. 2 chicken dinners not enough to secure the deal.
It definitely is, and Power have to make a decision here. They have to push. They cannot just wait, because like you mentioned, that blue zone has started to tick, and it's started to tick hard right now, especially once it fully closes and we hit stage 4. Let's see how they decide to play it. I am so shocked right now that we're seeing Power just completely turtle up. They got to move.
They've got to get out of there, but instead, over they go. Pops the shot, and that's going to give the game away. They're in the building, steps out, and that's the first knock going over.
Huge.
Easy, able to pick it up, and that is indeed huge. Power might just be able to win this fight off the back of it. They should know that the players upstairs, and DRX sat at the bottom of the table, sat on the top floor above Power. They've got 3 players to deal with. Just gonna be too much, I fear.
You can't be pushing a building by yourself right now. I'm so shocked that they're even doing that. It's so risky. If you get knocked, you're getting thirsted 100%. So the entire Power squad need to just full send it onto this last player. Get every single person, run in, and take them out. You got to get moving here, because this zone is starting to really chunk away at you, and there's hardly any spots available.
Know where he is exactly, but they are just not fully committing to it. The time is
Here we
starting to
go.
burn. The candle almost down. No wick left, and that's what they need. Easy, able to seal it with the DBS. Now, can they move away? Who's this? There's someone else moving through Los Leones. It's Talon. They were dealing with TJB up in the north, and finally, they've made their way towards the circle. They divert away from that fight. They just want to get in.
So late to the party, and I think that is exactly right. Talon just wanted to get in to the finals, and that finish right there will work for them. So now they are late to the party. They're going to pass up Power Esports, and actually getting mighty close.
Oh dear.
Some shots are starting to ring out, and I think that is one of the players from Talon getting knocked off the back of that buggy.
That's, yeah, Axel on board going to lose his passenger, and Power will be able to heal everyone up. Do they have the meds to sustain a push in? Because that northwest side is looking a little bit hairy right now. Talon get ahead of it, but you can see they're getting shot at by Mythic, by Team Liquid as well, from their longhouse high ground, and a knock over towards Misery. Now there's an opening potentially for Power to move through, and they're going to go on the north side of Team Liquid. As the attention is drawn south, they shimmy on in and potentially get a good spot against Team Liquid, because they're going to have to move further through. Neither team can stay where they are on the next circle.
Super fortunate rotation for Power, not to mention 5 eliminations. This is exactly what they needed to do to secure that top 12 position. Team Liquid right there in 10th. You know, they're looking to put some points on the board as well. And meanwhile, you got a lot of squads still available here that need a big game. I'm looking at Mad Bulls, Boom Esports, even Inco Gaming. Falcons need to start popping off here as well.
It is all about those inches to add to your tally, right? It is all about getting those single eliminations.
Right.
Crawling your way through this quagmire that is the group stage.
Oh, every inch counts, John.
Absolutely.
Every inch counts, and every point counts right here, and it's going to be so close here. There's only one match remaining. Mafioso busting out the mini, looking to try and pass up some of these teams on the leaderboards. Team Falcons starting to move as well. Top just trying to get a little bit of information. You can see him on that buggy circling around. These players got to stay calm here. I know there's a lot of pressure. Your tournament life is on the line, but you want to make sure that you make it to that next stage, and you're going to do it by just working together as a squad and pushing one team at a time. But silly rotations like that, you're going to get punished.
Harame Bro have them dead to rights, but the sprays just aren't connecting. The vehicle's eating most of that damage, which is pretty damaging towards the Falcons' rotations, right? And now Nerzit goes down. Top might just be the last holdout for them. And the Falcons on one player, they're right on the northern side. It's not even like they managed to get dead central, but he's not going to give up without a fight now. Top has the nade, looking to cook it up towards Jappy. As over behind the vehicle, he's got cover. The smoke is there to stop Top from getting sprayed down from the high ground, but that's only going to last so long. Spray's coming in, I think that's from Boom across the way. It's a third party. Jappy going for the trade, but Top able to do it. Pushes forwards, is going to be able to fall back. The teammates there, and with the front bumper, they bust his lip, and it's Falcons to fall.
He was able to get at least 1 point, but now you got Boom Esports on the other side starting to pressure Harame Bro here. Shots are ringing out from all over the place. Man, a little bit of a lazy rotation there from Falcons, and they got punished for it. It's going to come down to the last match for them. They're going to have to pull out a miracle game if they want to make it to the finals. Meanwhile, Harame Bro in 21st place with only 30 points. They need a monster game, and 2 eliminations so far, 1 player down. It's not looking good.
Not a happy couple of bunnies, those lot. Unfortunately, Team Liquid looking to continue their chase. Keep up the pace, 67 points right now. And they're in a pretty solid spot. Again, very few teams actually confirmed to be in on this one.
Axel getting knocked there. Alula IHC, Demo. He's going to go ahead and start off with a nice elimination. Oh, but here comes Boom Esports starting to put that pressure onto Harame Bro. I believe it's only 1 up left for them. A great push by Boom to get some very necessary points, and that's going to be 6 to their total.
Excellent start to their second to last game right now. Their Miramar campaign going well. That puts them up at 52 points. They still have more to do.
A lot more.
Looking at the circle, it's a hard northwest shift. Vampire right now in a really strong spot. The compound on that southwest corner of the flat that sits on their north side is going to be a lifeline. Tony K up on the high ground that sits to the northwest of it. They need to control Inko, but once they do, it is great news for them. Very few positions stronger than that.
Power Esports, you can see they're currently sitting in 10th place with those 5 eliminations. Looking really good here, but they still need to do a little bit more. Vampire Esports need to start putting that pressure because they're right there on that cutoff. They're sitting in 12th right now. No eliminations. You can see them playing this very, very calculated.
Absolutely. And so Tani said 75 points their goal, right? If they're going to split that between the 2 games and they need 8 points to be able to get... Is that right? No, they need more than that.
You know what? I
think
they'll take 8
and 5. They need 13 points, right? So you split it, 7 and 6. Which is this going to be? You want to get as many of them in this match right now. When you have a central position, when you have a stronghold, controlling Inko was always the thing that was going to ruin them. But if they can do it, they have a beautiful position on this northwest side. They can control from that high ground. Everything looks pretty downhill from where they sit.
Meanwhile, Team Liquid are now starting to feel that pressure. Mythic is knocked. Alula IHC on the gun. Oh, but Chief with a nice little stiff arm there on the Godless. He's going to get that confirmation. He's going to have to start hitting the deck, though. Actually, I might be looking for a vehicle and get on the move here.
Alula IHC from the south edge right now. 73 points. Another team looking to try and jump up towards that 80-point barrier that sees you fairly safe into those finals already. They have a lot more to do, and defending their global dominance from PMGC is what they are thinking about right now. But it's all about squeaking their way through the door.
That's right. I think with those 4 eliminations, I think that could have just done it for them, especially considering how these other teams are playing. Team Falcons out is going to leave it down to the last match for them. Vampire are still up with all 4 in a really solid position for this next zone. We're going to have to really see where this circle goes, and a lot of these teams could really use a blessing right now.
This 2-2 split for Vampire looks strong, but Alpha 7 are going to challenge the south side. Nuzi Schwepp both got to try and hold it, and Inco are going to suffer because of it. Revo now with the challenge, has got that pump action, steps out, finds one. Newsy goes down, flushed quickly. There's an answer though. There's the knock in response. That came through from Stone in the vehicle, but Schweppes is now down as well, and there's only 2 players for Vampire. They're getting dismounted. Alpha 7 Summit, there was no backup. McGrellan on in, and the south side hold for Vampire crumbles.
Stone getting caught with a nade in his hand. McGrellan's trying to go for the res here, but his teammate's moving just a little bit too much. But here comes Tony K, the last player up for Vampire Esports. They need this fight to win. Alpha 7 pretty much confirmed here to make it to the finals. Vampire, not so much. And they are allowing this reset. That nade helps give them just a couple more precious seconds to last in this match.
Unlikely Stone gets out of this though. Alpha 7 gonna res, gonna get McGrellan back to his feet. Tony K has bigger fish to fry, as well as Inco step around. 2 players to handle. If anyone can, it's Tony K. Nade over towards Schweppes to get the flush. Inco still that point away, but they still have Tony K to deal with. Alpha 7 potential to third party, but Power in the meantime. Dead center on the junction. A nice ridgeline to play around.
Tony K so desperate right now, just trying to make it happen for his squad. He jumps out with the pre-fire, jumping back in, using his best parkour tactics here. He's pulling out every strategy he has. He has to win this 1v2. He hears the footsteps. Nenebete is in the building. He tries to pre-fire it. He's trying to time this perfectly. But now Alpha 7's going to be pressing up in here anyway. Tony K's got to make something happen here.
Steps in, Nenebete across the way. Tony K out of the building, trying to find them on the back foot there. Spraying, pre-firing. Alpha 7 now descend. Moving on in for the third party on this one. I think they've only sent the 1 player up to the north side, but he's just going to put ordnance in. Nenebete going to be forced away to the sidelines. There's the backup from the Molotovs. They are starting to stretch out on this line on the west. Dangerous to expose themselves to the south side, but there's a lot going on the east that we'll have to tune in with later. This fight continues. The pressure is cooking.
Tony K's got to, his heart's got to be beating a mile a minute at this point, because he's fully boosted now. He's going to have a little bit of that run speed advantage from that full boost, and he needs it for sure. He is just biding his time. He's very happy to just stay in that building as long as he possibly can here, and hopefully maybe sneak even a single placement point. But right now, there's still 10 teams remaining. You go out, it is an absolute donut.
Alpha 7 fighting on 2 fronts, keeping Alolex IHC at bay. As CHG Osaka go down to Boom on the north side. In the meantime, Vitali goes down, and the burn is there.
Baby,
the burn out, and Tony K survives. So Vampire go 1 step further towards those placement points to add to their tally. They'll take what they can get at this stage. What more can they do? The answer is nothing, because there is just more nades in the pocket for Alpha 7. They really want to seal the deal for themselves. Maybe they want to try and chase it as well, because from this western side of the circle, they have the potential to move through this match.
Tony K trying the Jurassic Park strategies, as if I don't move, they can't see me, but unfortunately, Alpha 7 have evolved to another level right here.
Clever girls.
Revo just had that 5th sense, able to get that knock. And that is going to push those guys over the edge. Alpha 7 crushing it. But Power Esports, the local hometown heroes, need to get it done here. They have a good, solid position in the center of this map, but everybody's going to be staring right at them.
Alolex IHC sending Demo forwards in a pretty wild push, but sometimes you just need to go for it, and only putting 1 player in, it's the risk you take. Now they've got a central position because Demo made that dash. Alpha 7 weren't quite able to stop it. Mad Bulls on the east side against IWNRX, both going to be vying for that eastern edge. This is a really tricky spot for the Boom. Control the north side of the road. They have such great terrain right there. They're going to be forced off of it in a moment, but Mad Bulls find an opening onto their flank, so potential to sweep through, but IWNRX still in the way. Look at that ridgeline that Boom have. What can you do if you're IWNRX when they're there?
You go to the survival stage. That's what you do. And that's what's going to happen, right? But I'll tell you what right now. This next zone goes dead center. A beautiful circle shift for Power Esports. That's the team I got my eyes on, as well as Mad Bulls. Even Boom. Boom Esports have 10 eliminations?
Where did that come from? The north side, I'm telling you, man, that high ground position across the road acts like a river. There is nothing that you can do when Boom are moving forwards. This is the chase that they were looking for. We've been talking about teams that need strong games, and this is how you do it for Boom. 10 eliminations puts them on 56 right now, and they need more, but they are going about it the right way. A strong hold on the north side might be what they need.
They needed this so bad. 10 elimination points. Oh, that nade looks good. Oh, baby. How about one more? That was an eviction notice, and that is how you do it. IWNRX getting punished.
The red label on the door slapped up, and Boom put another one in the dirt. Swain falls down, and it's only the team's MVP himself, Zedwolf, who can stand between Boom and holding this northern side of the road to themselves. Another nade goes high. Yummy wants to put the final nail in. Another one just goes short, just not quite tickling on, and Zedwolf might get the res, but they are still trapped. That one looks quite good, and again, it bobbles down short.
So close. I mean, he's definitely doing some damage. Yummy, they need every single elimination they can get. And here they go. They are full sending it onto this edge. They are trying to take him down.
Let's go.
But maybe a little bit too close here. Z-Wolf still up, but that is it. 14 eliminations for Boom Esports.
They are starting to turn up the heat now, but they need the reses. Only 2 players active. Can anyone capitalize? Power still going with 3 in their ditch, and Alpha 7 starting to march forwards. 2-2 right now. A split attack, an approach to this eastern side, and Cardozo's been left alone.
What is going to happen? Power Esports able to get the full reset here. They have 3 players still alive. Alpha 7, the only team in the lobby with 4. Actually, Boom might even get this res. Meanwhile, Mad Bulls does get a knock onto Mafioso. This is stage number 8, folks. This zone's about to go to nothing. Only one more game after this. These teams need to clutch it up.
It is getting do or die by the second. It's closer to the wire. Alpha 7, they immediately move Revo up, but I do wonder if they know that Cardozin's there for Team Liquid. He's been sort of in the middle of this split, and Alpha 7 might fall prey to it if they don't clear out the angle. I don't think they know. There's no way that they can, because Mafioso would have just handled this. This means that Cardozin could be a massive spoiler.
Cardozin being so sneaky right now. When is he going to strike? You can see Mafioso applying that pressure to Mad Bulls. Mad Bulls should be looking to get into the action here since they desperately need these points, and it looks like they are going to make that challenge onto Alpha 7, but Alpha 7 doing a great job of just pushing them back.
Shots from Mafioso, keeping Boom at bay, getting across this road, their major challenge, but that south duo is going to give them a little bit of a foothold. They need to get across and challenge Power on this northwest point. Cardozin still chilling right now for Team Liquid. He's got ice in the veins, this man.
He knows what he needs to do. He needs a little bit more points to make sure they make it into the finals. So he's playing so quiet right now and giving Alpha 7 so much false confidence. Nice knock there. 2 knocks from Alpha 7 onto Mad Bulls. And I think that is going to be it for them. Only 1 player up left. Mad Bulls just weren't able to get it done.
No, the crossfire between Alpha 7 and Boom was just too much to bear. He is still there, and they still don't know. He's in the circle with a little bit of cover. A knock over towards Power is huge for Alpha 7. And they are starting to rack up these points as well. It is not just Boom who's come to play this one. Still, they're on 14 eliminations. Yummy with 7. Half of the team's tally.
Oh, Cardozo finally pops up, gets the knock and flush onto Revo. Here comes the drive on in. Is he able to get that second knock? He doesn't. And Carrillo finally takes him down. That's a 12 eliminations right there. A huge game for Alpha 7.
Up to 69 points, and add those 3 at 72. Power now with a chance. 3 players alive. Getting a knock over towards Carrillo means 2 players for Alpha 7. Boom, looking to insert themselves into this one. A big game necessary. Resi over and in to safety as well. Behind that buggy, has to fall back. Pondbit spotted.
That's
by
huge.
Gridon. Finds the spray, finds the flush. A nade over the top might just be enough to find 2. A double knock comes through from Razy, and that is huge news for Boom. More on the tally. 18 eliminations. They're looking to break records.
18 eliminations so far. There's 2 more to go. Can we see a 20 elimination game? That is a 30-point swing if they get it done. And Alpha 7 are on the back foot. It's looking too good for Boom Esports. Here comes the pressure. The nades, the Molotovs, the zone is starting to close. Alpha 7 know they're hurt. They have to hit an incredible shot if they want to make this happen.
Mafioso down. Now it's McGrellin. The only thing that's going to stand between them and Boom rolling over the circle. It is bombastic. It is loud. The north side of the road rolls on down and Boom's hopes stay alive.
Boom goes the dynamite, baby. 20 eliminations and the chicken dinner? Are you kidding me? These guys are gonna fly up the leaderboard.